Can't you pick the Causey?
Oh yeah.
Lancia Delta S4. Welcome back to the Causey World Tour, somewhere here in Ireland.
Northern Ireland for the Donegal Rally, which is about 2 hours away from here, but we're here at my buddy Enda's farm, and on his farm he has some very nice barns, and in this particular barn that we're about to walk into, he has some very nice Group B cars. So this is for me a Group B heavens. We're gonna go in, check out these cars, and maybe even talk Enda into taking us for a little drive. So let's go check those out. Hi, Enda. Thank you for having us.
That's no problem.
I love coming here.
Forrest.
Hi, Enda. Hey, there we go. Good to see you. Thank you for having us.
So I met Enda years ago because Enda goes to Goodwood and WR Spain and fun events like that and actually drives these cars. When was the last time you drove these cars?
The last time, actually, the RS200s was the last time you were here. Not everybody quite likes the noise, which can always be a little bit of a problem. But
You mean your neighbors?
well, neighbours and the authorities, shall we say?
Yeah.
So this is a car that was actually built in 1989 for Ford of Spain, and you could actually still drive these cars. And then after '86, even though Group B was banned, you could have driven them in the Spanish Gravel Championship. So there's actually quite a few Group B cars.
So most of the larger intakes that I know of were built for rallycross though, right?
It's built for rally because obviously the temperature in Spain.
Ah, yeah,
And that's why they made it higher. Because one of the issues, if you look at that car, was the air would go over.
Yeah.
But it actually wouldn't. It would actually go over the top of the scoop because it was too low. Because
Yes.
where the intercooler is, so hence why they raised it up.
Yeah, so bigger ears
Yes.
and bigger scoop.
So we've only been here for 4 or 5 minutes and already Enda's comparing scoop size. So yeah, so that is the one that's on Ken's RS200 back home. This one, this one's quite a large.
There's another
larger.
car in Spain that it filters and it has these scoops as well. So they're actually only really for those two Spanish cars.
And this would have actually been a motorsports part.
Well, it was something that was made later on, really after Group B. Like I said, it was 1989 when they were made. So
So the Group B era is a very special time of rally where the cars were all specially built. I think the homologation was only 200 units.
that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah, it was actually ended because they got too fast. It was basically the Formula One cars of rally. So for all of us people that are really into rally, it really is one of the most unique and kind of the golden era of rally. So these cars are just so special because there's so few of them. They actually ended up being banned, and it was just a time and era of cars that was very special because everything was changing so fast.
Yeah, but the other thing that you could have done, which these cars are, out of the 200, then you had 20 Evolutions. So these are the Evolution models. So you see with Audi and these RS200s, there were 20 special Evolutions with different drivetrain, different engines, and so they're even rarer again of the 200, if you can imagine.
So the RS200 was actually made in 1986.
Yeah.
They were raced for a very short time, and then their era was actually ended in '86. Several drivers and spectators died, and so they basically said this spec is too fast to race, and they banned the spec, and it went on to the Group A era.
That's correct, yeah.
And so, you know, not only was the era special because the number of cars that were built, it was very limited number of cars. The speed and the spec was very unique and very rare, and then it ended on a very dramatic note. So although tragic, it also made the cars even more sort of special because of that.
Yeah, but the other thing you've got to think about is the type of road car that people were driving at the time. So if you can imagine that compared to what these things were, and the noise and the drama and the wings and the scoop and the noise and the whole theatre that went with them, these types of things that came out was just an unbelievable difference. You know, they were quite scary cars.
So to see any of these cars, especially 3 of them in one place, is very unique, and that's why we're here to visit Enda.
Thanks, Enda.
That's okay, no worries.
This one's a sequential, yeah?
It has a sequential box in it because originally this car had the X-Track, which is the same as what's in the other car. The X-Track doesn't really work on the rallies because of the distance, and the gearbox was heating up, and then it became difficult to change gear. But it is the X-Track, we'll show you on this one, and then you had the double gear sticks as well, where you have, you can change it from 4-wheel drive to 2-wheel drive. You can actually do it on the move, as far as I've never actually tried it.
wow.
But, and then in the back end, you've got the 2.1 litre engine. This was just over 800 horsepower. But I know Martin Shanky, when he was doing rallycross, I think it was 2.4, but he used to say what he called the car used to drive him, not him driving the car.
So this car was running 800 horsepower on rallies?
Well, the road car is 600 horsepower.
Yeah.
Just the ordinary Evolution road car.
Right, but usually there's restrictors when you go to rally
No.
and that sort of thing. So for
this
the
was
Spanish championship,
Yeah.
it was running 800
Horsepower.
horsepower. On gravel stages?
On gravel stages, yeah. Crazy. And then we have this car, which was that's Ford's rallycross car. That was the car that Stig Blomqvist drove. It only did 4 events in 1989. Well, with Stig driving it. So that was supposedly the quickest car that Ford had made at the time. It's got the X-Trax system in it.
So this has the H pattern.
Yes.
So it's a rallycross car, but it has a
Seat on it, yeah.
seat on the side. And this is the one that has the dual.
Yeah, originally what he called I've got upstairs, there's quite a large tank, and then they've got the double wiper blades that they had on this car for rallycross.
Yeah.
And real quick, if I can ask, and you were saying that this actually has.
This one's actually blanked off, but there's actually.
I want to call it transfer case. Am I saying that right?
No. But no, there's actually on the road cars. There's you have a separate knob here, and that's how you can shift it from 2-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive. And in the 4-wheel drive, you have a choice of either 50-50 or 60-40. When you usually drive it, most people usually drive it in 60-40, so most comfortable. 50-50, it just keeps it doesn't actually turn. It keeps wanting to go straight on all the time. But in rallycross, they would have drove it in 50-50.
I like this car because I fit in it better than my car at home. There's a view of my feet. And look at me against the column. That is the original graphics from the original race team for Ford with the RS200. And that's what my graphics are based off of. We just did a variation of that with the flat black and the gloss black.
Only 17 or 18 of them still exist.
And I own one too.
And you own one.
So between us, we own 4. 3 of them are here though. So obviously, you have a lot of Group B cars, but you have a lot of other nice toys too. Like this one. And those. So let's talk about a few of them. This one's got a very particular history that you like.
The last car that Colin McRae drove, and he drove it in the RSE, and then he drove it in Australia. I think he was lying third, and he was going to be getting into second position if he kept up the same pace. They had a routine clutch service that didn't really go as well as it could have, and they ended up not actually going out to finish the loop.
So to be specific though, it was the last WRC race that Colin ever raced.
That's right, yeah.
Because he raced some other races after that.
Yeah, well, it's more
including
like
rallycross.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
with me.
But the WRC, yeah.
It was the last service of the rally,
Yes.
right?
And he had, they decided, for whatever reason, to do a clutch change.
Right.
But there was obviously some sort of complications, and they didn't get it finished in time.
Yeah.
And all the other teams all came around to watch.
Yeah.
And then at the end of it all, when they didn't get it done, they were all standing around clapping at the end, and it was just for the effort that Skoda put into it.
Yeah.
But there's a good deal of respect from every team for what Colin and Nicky had achieved, but what a disappointing way to lose Skoda's hopes for a best ever finish.
All right, Celica Shell, a Solberg Subaru, a Lancia Delta S4. This just keeps on going. This place is incredible. This is not a big building. You've got a lot of amazing cars in here.
I like how there's 3 pipes.
3 pipes, yes.
So one coming off the turbo.
Yeah.
And this is the.
Supercharger.
Yeah. Wait, that's the supercharger exhaust?
Yeah.
And what's this one?
That's the engine.
I'm confused. All right, well now you have to tell us about your third RS200 in your collection, because this is one of the most unique ones in the world.
This is the IMSA car.
Yeah, but there's only one IMSA car.
There only is one, yeah. Very unique car. 4-wheel drive system, Evolution as well. You can put this up to about 900 horsepower.
So that means you drove it.
It went static, and Jeff came over in 2015 and drove the car up the hill.
Oh, wow.
How good would it?
Just raced one season.
No, 89, and then in 1991.
It is quite clean.
Yeah,
This car
engine bay
really does look
engine bay
clean.
looks beautiful. And it's got some dramatic changes from the RS200s I'm used to looking at, too.
Well, the thing is, one of the main issues they had, because an RS200, the whole back sections are all bolted together.
Yeah.
So the setup was nearly impossible because it always keep flexing.
Yeah.
Because the whole car, if you look at the floor in an RS200, they're all honeycomb.
Yeah.
So there's no strength. And that was one of the issues they found in Group B rally, and that's why when they went to rallycross, they welded everything up. And that's why this one, the whole roll cage and all assembly is all solid now.
Yeah.
So you can actually do some proper setup on the car.
Yeah. And they went to a single shock too.
That's right, yeah. Well, things had just moved on.
Yeah.
Especially for race, they didn't need the twin shock setup.
Yeah, there's a lot of subtle changes too, like they changed the holes here and made them all circular, but it's the same pattern in the same place.
Same place, yeah.
Yeah, so it's subtle changes, but they still kept kind of the original look.
Yep.
Very
Everything's
cool.
exactly.
And then there's this flare.
Yeah.
In the front end of this thing too, you see the flares a little more pronounced from the front. And by the way, I love the turbo fan on this one. So thanks for the tour of your barn. I love coming here, but we have a dinner date, right?
Yes.
So can we
Get
take
some-
Can we take some of these to go to dinner? Last time we got to drive the RS200s. Can we do that again?
We can.
Some dinner with Andrew Nesbitt and the family.
Yep.
All right.
Let's go.
Man, it's either Ken or this camera, but that's a very powerful thing to be able to drive a couple RS200s to dinner.
Oh boy. Yeah, look how much more room I have.
So for some reason, every time Ken tries to drive an RS200, it's in the rain. But I guess when you have this as your favorite rally
This is
car,
Northern Ireland, so it rains a lot.
That's why the grass is so green.
Yeah. Well, thank you again for having us over to your barn and letting me drive this wonderful machine again. And it was very nice to actually fit in it, unlike my car. But yeah, wonderful. It's time for us to have dinner, though.
Until next time.
Yep.
Ken, did you pick the Kazi?
Oh yeah.
3, 2,